Hello, everybody. Raven fans, Oriole fans, welcome to the Be nice if I was on camera there. This is Charles, the owner and CEO of Ravery Sports. Like and subscribe to all of our social media content. You're watching this on our first broadcast on Wednesday at 8 o'clock. You're watching us on our Facebook page. You're watching us on our Twitter page that just went over 200. So thank you for that. 200 followers. Thank you on our YouTube channel, our Facebook page. Just got a couple more followers on there as well, and our Twitch channel. So thank you very much. So things going like that. Twitch next sees pretty soon. We're gonna do some different things on Twitch. We're gonna have some actual gaming stuff on there. We'll get to it. So definitely got a lot going on as well. Some of those things that are going on is Genesis Notary Services. So definitely in our Shenandoah Valley area. Had a couple bookings. Before. So Genesis Notary Services. You can go ahead and book a spot right on the Facebook page on the bottom of the screen. Genesis Notary Services Facebook. You can go ahead and book an appointment right on there, or you can just even go to Google Genesis Notary Services, Winchester, Virginia. And you can book a notary appointment on there. You can buy our merchandise, our hats like this is on the website. It's on there. ravorisports.company.site is right on there. So definitely you can get that information on there as well. And also ravorisports at Gmail. So anything you do not see on the website will be on. You can email us and we can go ahead and get that information out for you. So we can get anything on the website as well. Now we can get down to the business of the NFL. Make sure you mind your business. My children always say that. You're mind your business. Every 30 seconds, it's mind your business. Must be something the young people are saying, I guess. And the Seahawks need to mind the business because they got blasted in this one. 37-3. Ravens over the Seahawks, not even close there. This one, I think the Ravens had this in hand pretty much from kickoff. Had about the first two series where the Ravens didn't do so well. Kind of a couple 3-and-outs. Both teams kind of went 3-and-out, and that was the ball game. I think once they got the run game going, Ravens really pounded the rock in this one. Defense is just outstanding as well. Look, Seahawks are a pretty good team. Seahawks probably make the playoffs. We're going to talk more about the Seahawks this week too, but I mean, this wasn't close. All week long, all I've heard is national pundits. Number one, I think the Ravens are the best team in the AFC, best team in the NFL. I agree with them. I think this was super, super impressive, beating two really good NFC teams the last few weeks. You go on the road and get one in Arizona. That's a West Coast game. So definitely good job by the Ravens. What did Lamar do in this one? 21 for 26, 187, 10 touchdown. 10 rushing, 10 carries rather. Easy for me to say, 60 yards. So Lamar, very judicious day. More running and passing in this one. But Lamar throwing the football, I've always said Lamar, and some guys are and some guys aren't. Lamar is a very, very good decision maker throwing the football. You rarely see Lamar. I've only seen in his whole career, he's been here now about 5 years, where he throws, where I see stupid passes. Very, very rarely. Where he throws bad balls or he throws like stuff that's just bad decision. Lamar, very good decision maker in this one. Leading candidate, I think, right now for MVP without the question at the current time. How about Keaton Mitchell? 9 carries, 138 yards, 2 runs of over 40 yards, and a TD. It's fantastic. Would say, I'm going to say this. I hate to be negative at all when you have a performance like that. He looks small. I see why he was undrafted for a running back. Looks a little small, but his speed is just off the charts as that goes. Anthony Mitchell, I've seen him a couple times this week. He was a former Baltimore Raven, played with Super Bowl in 2000. Reserve player basically with his tenure with the Ravens. So I'm sure watching his son run around there for the Ravens is probably as proud as he's ever been as anything he's done on the field, and he had a NFL career himself. Mark Andrews has been good all season. Mark Andrews has now creeped up to the lead in Ravens receiving yards. Lamar and Mark Andrews connection is gonna maybe get them both in the Hall of Fame. Andrews understands anything, how to go to Lamar Jackson wherever he is and catch the football. That's what he understands, and he's also great in the red zone. That's what it is. 9 catches, 80 yards. Look, all this receiver talk with Odell Beckham, Zay Flowers, Rashard Bateman. Let's not forget that we have an outstanding tight end here, and we still have him as well. Kyle Van Noy, the anti-Clowney on the team. Kyle Van Noy, this is the I mean, again, 2 sacks in this one. He's got second on the team with 5 sacks. He's got 5 in 4 games. So he's been fantastic. I think like he's everything that you need. He's a guy not blazing speed, not this really set the edge. Didn't really expect a lot of pass rush. Fundamentally sound. They're not asking him to do much. Set the edge. Get to the pass rusher on third down. That's exactly what he's doing. Kyle Van Noy has been, look, this was supposed to be a question mark, a weakness for them, if not a weakness. You had David Ajabo, who really hadn't played, and you had Adafi Owe, who played a little bit, but he's missed a lot of time. Jadeveon Clowney and Kyle Van Noy has just taken that outside linebacker position out of the weakness and put it into the strength category. So outstanding performances by those guys. Ravens defense was phenomenal. Geno Smith, 13 for 28, 157, 1 INT. I'm not going to go too hard on Geno. This is a phenomenal story. Geno Smith, the fact that he's even on the field on a team, a good team, going to the playoffs, possibly. I think it's a great story. I think everybody knows that this guy is not an elite NFL quarterback. I think he's decent. I think he's decent enough. I think he's on the right team. I think this defense just buzzsawed him. I mean, I think anybody against this Ravens defense is going to struggle on the road. Also, too, Seattle, 4 times they played Eastern time zone. That's a big deal. Seattle is about, not Canada, I guess, but that's as far and away in the United States as any NFL team pretty much in the Northwest. They're furthest away from everybody on the West Coast. So when they play on the East Coast, it's more of an effect than it is for, I think, any other team. No run game in this one. The Seahawks, this is a Pete Carroll team. This is a run team. This is Marshawn Lynch, beast mode, what they're known for, running the football. Their main guy, Kenneth Murray, 9 carries, 16 yards. Not much at all in this one from Kenneth Murray. He didn't do much. They didn't run the ball. I mean, everybody is having trouble running the ball in the Baltimore Ravens. They're not doing much at all, anybody. Matabuke is stout up front. Michael Pierce has been fantastic from them. That's been a pleasant surprise. Broderick Washington, we know what he is, and Roquan and Patrick Queen both should go to the Pro Bowl. I mean, I think Roquan for sure is going to go. Patrick Queen should get some Pro Bowl vote. Patrick Queen, I think, has been terrific as well. So he should be in that Pro Bowl voting as well. Jackson Smith Nigba is the leading receiver. 6 catches, 63 yards. Probably his best game, not bad. The thing I remember most, despite his decent performance here, the 50-yard catch that DK Metcalf had. He only had the 1 catch, 50 yards. So Nigga had more, like 663. That's about all he did throwing the football. Not much at all. I got to tell you this. The Ravens corners have been fantastic. Brandon Stevens has been fantastic. He's been thrown at more than any cornerback in the league, and he's held up fantastically. Non-factor Tyler Lockett. DK Metcalf only really the one catch. Nigba like 6 for 63. That was the best day out of everybody playing in the slot. I got to tell you, outstanding stuff from the Ravens defense. On the other side, Bobby Wagner, 9 tackles. You know he's going to do that. Bobby Wagner, I think, is still one of the best tacklers in the league. Best. He's going to have a great game, but I think like their whole defense, I think, was neutralized. One thing, you stop a good run stuffer is put points on the board. That's exactly what they did. As good as Bobby Wagner is, I would say this though about the Seattle defense and the Ravens and the strategy. And I said this in the React video. They have outstanding corners, both of them. Witherspoon and Wooten on the outside. Devon Witherspoon and Tariq Wooten rather on the outside. The Ravens were definitely trying to stay away from them. That was absolutely a strategy. That's why they went to Andrews more. They went inside more because those corners are really good. I mean, it's kind of weird to say almost like because they scored 37 points, but I think that was all part of it. Great strategy by the Ravens, running the ball more, didn't play to their strength. Those great corners that they have. I thought this was virtuoso right here. Nothing. I mean, it's almost bad for a content creator because there was nothing to complain about. They were good on offense. They were good on defense. They were good in all phases. I thought, and I thought the coaching now. Hey, look, Mike McDonald calling great games. He's taken some of the Wink Martindale defense that he was under, and what is he doing? He's not as aggressive. Kind of like mixing and matching. He's showing cover 0 sometimes, but he's not using it. Sometimes it's zone, not just falling in love with it, like all that cover 0 blitz hitting it. So teams can go ahead and beat them deep. Not happening. So I thought it was good all the way around. So 37-3, great performance by the Ravens. In this one, we got a new one this Sunday on Fox. Keep that in mind because it's 2 AFC teams. So the game is on Sunday at 1:00. Browns at 5-3, Ravens at 7-2. This one here, look, as good as the Ravens have been, just keep this in mind, Raven fans, that they have everybody in this division is over 500 now. Not only over, not at 500, over 500. Browns 5-3, Squealers 5-3, Bengals 5-3. So definitely 2. So even as good as the Ravens have been, the pressure is still on them. They're not running away with it by any stretch. So wins the next few weeks are going to be very, very critical to what happens the rest of the way here. So 2 big division games here in the next few weeks. Lamar, this is what he's done over the season. 1954, almost at the 2,000 yards passing, and definitely will go over that this game. You know, he hasn't, I don't think, had 3,000 yards passing in a season. I don't think. I think maybe 2019 he did, but I don't think he's had 3,000 yards passing. I think he's come close. But I'd like to see Lamar get over the 3,000 yards passing, play all the games, right? Stay healthy the last month of the season. Big deal. The last month, Lamar's been sensational. I mean, we know that. Gus Edwards, 110 carries, 478 yards, 7 TDs now. They've been using Gus. He hasn't been getting as many carries as I'd like to see him get. They've been definitely using him at the goal line. It's been working. 5 touchdowns, I think, in the last 2 games. So definitely using him in the red zone. That's exactly where you should be using him for sure. Down on the goal line, down in short distance, the 4th and down, etc. They should be going ahead and doing that. 4th down, though, they've been going for that less this year. Less aggressive from Harbaugh, but good stuff from Gus Edwards. You are for sure going to see more Keaton Mitchell in this one. Justice Hill, I think they're going to cut into his carries. The fumbles on the handoff, we're seeing it every week. That's the one bugaboo. 10 total this year for Lamar. 6 lost. Not good. Not good. Zay Flowers, 45 receptions, 472 yards, 1 TD. He's been very good. Quiet the last 2 weeks, though, I would say. they've been kind of going away from him. I didn't mention last week I didn't mention in the last game we just talked about the corners. I think teams are keying up on him, but we had a better day from Odell Beckham, and we know how good Mark Andrews is. Mark Andrews is going to be productive regardless of what happens. Zay, I think, has been good all year. I think he's probably been the second best rookie as far as wide receivers. Justin Matabuke, you can go ahead and ring the bell because that's the sound of the price going up for right there, the bomb. That's the sound of the price going up with Matabuke. 7.5 sacks. He's making money. I think this is a great time for him to have a great year. I see a lot of Trevor Pryce with him, controlling the run and the pass. You can't stop him when he's rushing, and you can't stop him when he's passing. Great time to have a good season for Justin Matabuke as well. Let's talk about the Browns. That last week, when I saw, that looked like Deshaun Watson. Finally. I thought he was very, very good in that last game. I thought Deshaun, maybe not what he was, but yet it took a while. He hasn't played in so long. Then he had the shoulder injury. I'm way more concerned about the Browns seeing what Deshaun Watson looked like last week, because that more looked like the Deshaun Watson I'm used to seeing. That definitely looked like the Deshaun Watson that we're more familiar with. In that goes. Amari Cooper. He has 35 receptions and 617. Amari Cooper has been steady for them. I think kind of almost forgotten about in Cleveland a little bit, the way he's played. But Amari's kind of been forgotten about, but I think he's still really good. Amari is definitely, I think, the best wide receiver I think they have, and it's not close. I think they used to have a little bit more of an ensemble, but this now for sure is their main guy. Jerome Ford at running back for the Cleveland Browns. So he's been good in tandem. This is kind of what they do in Cleveland. They run the football. I like the Browns. I have been watching them a little bit the last few weeks, and they are, despite the fact that they haven't had Deshaun Watson, despite the fact they haven't had Nick Chubb and won't have Nick Chubb, they've kind of stayed true to their identity, running the football. They have Jerome Ford. I think they got a lot of confidence in him. They went and got Kareem Hunt back, who beat him out. That's very fortunate. There's a guy familiar, a little bit older now, familiar with the system. They've kind of stayed true to their identity, which is very important when you have a team like that. So I've been impressed with that the run game has still been very solid despite not having Nick Chubb. Not as solid, obviously, but they've definitely stayed true to identity. This guy is a fabulous, fabulous player, maybe the best player in the NFL on defense all year, Myles Garrett. Almost unblockable. For sure, you better put 2-3 guys on him. You're going to need Ricard chipping. You're going to need Garrett. You're going to need a couple tackles on him. I noticed in the last game, I don't want to say they almost weren't even trying to block him. They landed a right screen in his direction, knowing he was going to beat whoever was over there. So definitely Myles Garrett. I don't think there's any question about whether I think it's him. He's right up there. Micah Parsons, TJ Watt. I mean, right in the top 5 defensive players in the NFL. No question about it. Speaking of Myles Garrett, how good he is, since you brought it up, X factor in this one is Ronnie Stanley. Ronnie Stanley's been inconsistent. We're still not seeing that dominant player that we once had, but he's been very good. He'll need to be good on Sunday. That's why he's the X factor. We need good Ronnie Stanley on Sunday. If you're going to go against Myles Garrett, you're going to go against a guy like that who's going to blow up the play, who's going to be in your backfield a lot. Ronnie Stanley has a good game. That is going to matter a whole lot in this one as well. X factor on defense is going to be Michael Pierce, big Michael Pierce. Just talking about how Michael is having a great season. Michael has been, I have been surprised how good he's been. Not that I didn't think he was a good player, but I really thought that Travis Jones was going to come in and supplant him as a starter. Not having it. Michael Pierce has kept him on the bench. Michael Pierce has done a great job because look, Matabuke probably played himself into a lot of money. Pro Bowl seasons looks like from Roquan and Patrick Queen. Not as much talk about the guy in the nose, Michael Pierce. He's been terrific, and I think again, Cleveland. What do they want to do? Run the football. Jerome Ford, Kareem Hunt. That's going to be their thing. Then throw over the top, run the ball. Maybe a little Deshaun Watson is going to run the ball. That's going to be their thing. So you're going to have to stop the run. Ravens keep it rolling. 24-17. That's what I predict happens in this one. I don't think we're going to get as many points in this one. This is number one defense here in Detroit. Cleveland. I think the Ravens. These probably are the two best defenses in the NFL. So I don't believe you're going to get a lot of points in this one. I think it's going to be who turns the ball over, who gets the defensive play to score, who gets those things. I think the Ravens are on a roll at home. Very, very good at home. 24-17, where they get the victory in this one. So there you go. Ravens, 24-17. This is going to be a tough 2 weeks here. As on a roll as they've been, as much media play as you've been getting, as much excited as all the fans are, you got to handle business on the field, and you got two tough games. I could say this. 2 victories here will really matter. You'll be 9-2 at that point, and we'll know it here. The next week's game is a Thursday night game, so we'll be here after the game to talk about it, obviously. But you have a short week. You're going to play another game. It's a lot happening here pretty soon for the Ravens. So definitely check that out. Once again, Fox game this week. So keep that in mind. So no, even though the two AFC teams, some of you may go to CBS and look for it, the game is a Fox game. So let's go ahead and get it squared away. Big Five. 5 biggest games on the NFL schedule that are not Raven games. Last week you talked about the Big Five. Jets. Oh wow, Zach Wilson. Better, but they're still not scoring a lot of points. I think I kind of agree with what I heard somebody say. Yeah, that's just what the Chargers ordered, getting the Jets in that one. So yeah, that was just what the doctor ordered. So the Chargers have won 2 in a row. Miami last week. You know what? I was almost remiss last week in mentioning that Tyreek Hill is now, that was a bit of the Tyreek Hill Bowl. Go ahead and sign with Miami and the trade, and the Chiefs went ahead and beat them without Tyreek Hill. Actually, finally, somebody slowed him down. Look, Miami's defense has been exposed. They don't have defense, and when they don't score a lot of points, they have all types of trouble. Buffalo and Cincinnati played. Bengals are really good. Buffalo, I think, is really good. Buffalo hasn't changed much. I think the issue you have, everybody's talking about Josh Allen and all that other stuff in the run game. Their defense isn't what it was. That's the bigger issue. Their defense was, I think, top 3-4 in the league. Now it's no longer that. So I think that's pretty much what happened there as far as that goes. All right, let's talk a little bit about last week. Let's go to this week's game. I think right off the bat, this might be a biggest game on the schedule here. The 49ers going against the Jacksonville Jaguars. 49ers have been sliding a bit here. Like, they've lost 3 in a row after winning their first 5. They're going into Jacksonville and play the Jags. Jags have been really rolling lately. I don't know if I'm being fair at all with the Jags. The eyeball test, I just don't see it. Lawrence, I think, is really good. I think Lawrence, almost makes it look too easy. I'm gonna frame it that way this week. He looks lackadaisical at times, but he's not. I mean, he's killing guys, right? He's almost making it look too easy. His team is winning, and he is very successful at that. I love Etienne, the running back. I think he's fantastic. I think he's got a good group of receivers that could score. They're scoring points. I mean, there's no question about it. Niners, I'm not sure they win this game. I think Purdy is I think when you're playing Jacksonville, like the Chiefs, when you're playing the Chefs, you got to match what they're doing. I'm not sure the Niners can do that. I think their offense has been really been scuffling a little bit without Trent Williams. I think that you could see the difference like that. They run that old Mike Shanahan offense is what I keep calling it. Lots of bootleg, lots of waggle, and what you need in that offense is push up front. And without Trent Williams there, and I don't know if he plays in this game, that's really hurt him. I like the Jags. I think the Niners lose again in this. So I think I like the Jags win. Plus a long trip from San Francisco to Florida. Again, early game as well. So keep that in mind. Saints leading their division, the NFC South, going against the Vikings. The Vikings have won a couple in a row, so they're at 500. Not dead yet. So they lost Kirk Cousins for the season. Kirk Cousins having his best season. First time, really, Kirk Cousins has missed any games. I can't remember him ever being hurt. He has the torn Achilles, will not play anymore. Josh Dobbs. I don't know why people like Dobbs. I kind of see him a lot like Jordan Love. I think that's kind of what he is. He can kind of do some stuff. He can hit the short ball. He can kind of dink and dunk a little bit. He'll give you something downfield. He'll get you some stuff, and he has some mobility. I don't love it. I don't know why. I don't know why people are so excited. Saints, I think, have their issues. Their defense is solid. I don't think there's any question about it. You got Cameron Jordan, you got Lattimore, you have a good defensive group. Carr, I think, is got to get better. I think he's getting a little bit better. I think they should win this game. I think they're a better team. I don't think if they had Kirk Cousins, I might feel a little different. Dobbs is not the guy against this defense. I don't think, and I think that's the other thing with Dobbs. When he's playing good defenses like he's going to face, he doesn't do as well. So a lot of people are going to pick the Vikings. I don't think this is close. I really like the Saints in this one. All right. How about this game and two of the best quarterbacks in the league? CJ Stroud has proven me right all year. I kind of said during the draft process that he was a better quarterback than Bryce Young. I thought it was a little bit. It's been a lot. Stroud has been one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Definitely top 10 as far as performance as well. He's got a good group of receivers as well. I don't think they beat Cincinnati, though. I think the Bengals have woken up now. Burrow, I think, is rolling. I think it took, again, I talked about Deshaun Watson getting it. Look, Burrow didn't play at all in preseason. He played in the first game. He was kind of hobbled. He's getting better now, and now it's starting to show. They had a good win in Buffalo, I think so. I don't love their defense. I think they're going to score. Doesn't matter. T. Higgins has been really good. Jamar Chase has been really good. Mixon has been really. I think the line is holding up so far. I think I'll go ahead and outgun Texans. I think the Texans will score some because they have good. I think Stroud's going to have a good day against the defense, but I don't think it's going to matter. I think the Bengals actually win this game. The Commanders actually go to Seattle and go ahead and play the Seahawks in this one. The Commanders going west to go ahead and play the Seahawks in this one. Commanders playing the Seahawks here. Seahawks, despite the loss, I'm still not all out on the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are still pretty good. I think with CJ, I think with Geno Smith, I think they'll bounce back. I think the defense is, believe it or not, even despite the loss, pretty good. I do think they're going to have to run the ball. I think you'll see more of a correction in this one from the Seahawks. Commanders hanging in. Sam Howell is a tough quarterback. I don't know if he's great, but I like his spunk. I do. He gets beat around a lot. But in a way, I really do admire his toughness as well. I'm not. I'm not sure why they traded away their ends. I mean, because I don't see any reason to throw in the towel. Their inside guys are really good, so that's kind of the thing that they're keeping Jonathan Allen and Payne. I think they've kept those guys around. I don't know how much offense they're going to get in this one. I like the Seahawks in this one. I do think this will be close. Do think this will be close. Big if the Commanders can get this one, this would be a big win for playoff position and all that as well. And the Chargers playing and hosting the Detroit Lions. They're on a roll right now. Chargers have won 2 straight here. You couldn't get, I think, for the Chargers, you couldn't get 2 worse offenses. You got Zach Wilson in there for Aaron Rodgers, and then you had I forgot his name, the second string quarterback for the Bears. So that's good. That was good for them. They got on 2 straight wins. I think the Lions roll over them in this game. I think the Lions are going to assert themselves. The defense, despite all their names, hasn't been great. Goff is gonna actually be, I think, gonna be able to move the ball. He does fairly well against the blitz. I think Goff is gonna actually move the ball. They have a good stable of running backs, too, Gibbs, etc. And those guys are really good. In Detroit, doesn't matter. It seems like which one it is. I think this may be one of the best, if not the best, offensive line in the NFL. Right up there with Dallas, etc. So I like the Lions in this one. I don't think the Chargers. I don't know if the Chargers are going to win 3 in a row. Good for them getting there, but I think it's the Lions actually getting the victory there. So there you go, the Big 5. So that's the 5 biggest games on the schedule that are not Raven games. So absolutely go ahead and enjoy all the games. So definitely go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead. We have a World Series champion, 2023 Texas Rangers. So Bruce Bochy's guys went ahead and actually made it all the way through. Good for them. I did think Texas, I wasn't surprised that Texas was good this year. I did think they were going to take a big jump. They made some free agent moves last year. One of my favorite players is Marcus Semien. Corsaga was just out of sight. I mean, all postseason long. Jordan Montgomery was a great move. They went out and got Scherzer. Their pitching was really good. I think no question about it that the Rangers were outclassed. I think there's just too much for the Diamondbacks. I think the Diamondbacks got as much farther than I thought they would. But too much Texas in this one in the series. I think getting over the hump, beating the Astros really helped them. So congratulations to them. Now we're officially in baseball off season. I would say World Series numbers are. I'm going to talk a little bit about the World Series ratings, which is plain awful. It's too bad. I thought this was the best season baseball season had in many, many years. I think what happened was the baseball's not like football. You can't have anybody there. The Rangers don't really have a national brand, and the Diamondbacks even less. Diamondbacks hadn't been there. So I think that matters when you don't have Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, etc., Cubs. That matters. I think that's essentially what happened. And you had that all through the playoff. Even the Phillies, Braves, 2 teams that I would say a lot of America doesn't watch on a regular basis were there. But congratulations, Rangers went ahead and did that and got that squared away. We are going to talk about this here. So we are going to talk about this situation here. This has been in the media. This is not usually what we talk about, but I think there's a larger point I want to go over here. We're going to talk about Joe Smith. We're going to use this fair use, and we're going to talk about Joe Smith, the great Maryland player here that is in the video. So check this out.
I can't believe I'm sitting here just finding out you got OnlyFans. And all these years, the disrespect that comes with it, that you could have talked to me before you did it, that's bullshit, That's fucked up, Keith. I'm telling you, that's fucked up.
Wait, no. You're not gonna say fuck me or that's fucked up. It's not fucked up.
You recording me? What the fuck you doing?
Listen, it's not fucked up, and we're going to. Okay, look. So I have an OnlyFans page, and he's mad because he's just now finding out about it.
Of course, I'm mad at you just finding out about it.
I'm not doing it with anybody but myself, so why should I have to tell you my choice, my body, my fucking choice?
Your partner, you're supposed to come to me and talk to
Joe,
me.
I've been talking to you about mad things. I've been asking for solutions to shit. You're not giving me none, so I created one.
That's no solution. Not in my book.
Fair use.
You knew who the fuck I was when you met me.
Before,
yeah,
I knew that.
Thought that I would never have to go back to anything like this again. Beforehand, but unfortunately, that's not the case right now.
After that, everything's supposed to change.
Everything did change.
No. Obviously, it hasn't.
No, it had to. I had
Obviously,
to do something.
You stood out there showing your body. You stood out there doing stuff like this on camera.
You act like that's the only thing that I do. I have mad jobs, but they're not facilitating everything that needs to be done. So I got something extra. OnlyFans be breaking me off. What the fuck?
Come on, Keith, with that. It don't matter what they breaking you off. It's the disrespect that comes with it.
What disrespect?
You couldn't come and talk to me about it.
Okay, well, we're talking about it now.
Because I had to find out on the fly.
All right, then. But now, okay.
No,
so wait.
I had to find out on the fly.
So now you know.
Yeah, now I know.
Okay. And so? Whatever.
All right. So there was a video. Joe Smith and his wife, he's finding out about OnlyFans, quote unquote, air quotes there, about OnlyFans and his wife going ahead and starting an OnlyFans account. OnlyFans, for those of you that don't know, I have to explain to some of you out there, OnlyFans is a site that has adult entertainment, right? So mostly women are on there, have a streaming service, and they collect money from usually men, obviously. They go ahead and he started an OnlyFans account. Joe's in there talking about it, and he is unhappy with his wife is doing this, obviously, right? Couple things real quick. I'm gonna do something I haven't seen in any of these videos. I'm sure if you've seen it. I'm gonna talk about Joe Smith, the ball player, because he's a great Maryland player. Joe Smith, I think, was the third best player in Maryland history in my lifetime. There was Len Bias, I think, one, Juan Dixon, two. He had his issues, and Joe Smith. I think Joe Smith was, I remember Keith Booth when I was at Baltimore City College playing a high school game. It was a big, I was really excited. It was a big deal because he was a top prospect. He was the head guy in that recruiting class. The guy that's supposed to come with him and turn around Maryland was Joe Smith. And Joe Smith, for minute one, just took it away. Joe Smith was a fantastic Maryland player. I think he was the third best player. Bias was higher. I think Bias was a better player. I think he's pretty close to Juan Dixon, but Juan Dixon, I have him higher because Juan Dixon has actually won a national championship. So, but Joe Smith was a phenomenal player, a good pro career. I think injuries kind of derailed him, but I think his first couple years really took it away. It really was a good thing for Joe Smith. I mean, really wasn't good over the long term because he had a great start, couple all-star appearances. So Joe Smith was a phenomenal NBA player. Was not an elite player, but really good. I think Juan Dixon was kind of an average player, Midland NBA player, where Joe Smith, I think, for years was a good player. Couple things here. One, it was a skit. I don't believe that for a second. All of a sudden, they're all over the internet. They're on the Breakfast Club. They're all the same thing. Obviously, they're trying to get on reality TV and all that other stuff. So I do think that was a skit. I think and it's working. I mean, they've got interviews everywhere, all over the place. The thing I really wanted to talk about here, especially, was what happens to athletes once they finish playing. My brother one time, he asked me, Charles, why? And he's not a sports guy at all. He doesn't like NBA or any. He would never do like a podcast like this. He probably wouldn't watch a podcast like this. And he asked me, it's like, why are all these athletes commentating games? Well, what else would you do? And the answer I gave him is what I'm going to say. There really is nothing else for these guys to do, right? There's coaches. There's, compared to players, coaches, NBA, there's 15 players and there's 4 or 5 coaches. Sometimes, maybe if it's a Dallas, they spend a lot of money, maybe 6 coaching jobs. There's scouting. There's only a couple of jobs that they can do on an NBA team. Some of them are going to be broadcasters more nowadays, but not everybody's going to get those jobs, right? And so, unfortunately, players resort to this type of foolishness to actually make money. And that's the sad part about what happens to athletes as they get older. Joe Smith was absolutely somebody I looked up to. He was, when I was in high school, and he was a great Maryland player, outstanding player. And he's got, him and his wife are doing this foolish. And I don't know that it's a skit, okay, for sure. And let's pretend it's not. It's still sad. It's still sad. Either way it goes. If this is not true, then that means if this is true, as it's not a skit or whatever, then your wife is out here acting foolish. And it's sad what happens to these athletes sometimes. It really is. I'm almost hoping that it is that he's participating in this, as silly as it makes him look, as silly as a lot of this stuff is, because there's money in this. I mean, Real Housewives of Atlanta or Potomac or whatever it is. I mean, that's obviously what they're doing, trying to make money, trying to get some notoriety, trying to get the clicks and views and things like that. And it's unfortunate what happens to some of these athletes after they quit playing. Last year I talked about one, Dixon losing his job at Coppin States. I just want people to understand out there that athletes are human beings, and unfortunately they go through these type things. Either way it goes. So either A, he's participating in this, and this is full, why I think that's what this is, or B, his wife is just acting silly, telling people that he's broke or whatever. And this is one of the greatest players in Maryland history being treated like that, or having to resort to this. One of the two. So think about the human aspect of athletes, what they have to go through after they finish playing. Because a lot of times people stop cheering, and so they have to go out here like everybody else, get a job, trade on your name. Sad, I'd like to see Joe Smith go out with a little bit more than that, but here we are. So unfortunate. Either way with Joe Smith. This doesn't make me happy either. Terps got rolled in this one. This is going to be more of a rant than X and O commentary in this one as well. 51-15, Maryland housed in this one from Jump Street. In this one, Drew Aller has been fantastic all year. Look at that. 25 of 34, 244 TDs. He could have had more than that in that one. Creighton Allen was the leading rusher in this one, 14 carries, 91 yards. They ran the ball extremely well in this one. Kendra Lambert-Smith, he's probably an NFL receiver. He had 8 receptions at 95 yards in this one as well. They were in the backfield the whole day. Asa Isaac, I think, had a sack. They had 6 total sacks. And this one really pushed around the Terps offensive line. I'll save the lousy stat for last. Tulia Tagovailoa. I thought he was decent, considering. I thought 29 for 39, 286, 2 TDs, one pick. So not bad. I'm not that bad, I suppose. I mean, stats not bad. Didn't score a ton. Ty Felton, 4 receptions, 75 yards. In this one, look at this foolishness. 49 negative rushing yards. Insane. The sacks that Tua had, the Tagovailoa had, were terrible. That contributed a lot. They had nothing on the ground. Let me tell you something. There's a stat I saw that Mike Locksley has a good record in September, August, and a bad record in October and the rest of the year. Come on, Terps. Defense, no aggression, no fight to them, no nothing. I understand that Penn State's a better team. The last 2 games, Illinois and Northwestern, you just didn't show up. And the defense is terrible. There's no other way to say it. Bo Braid, I forgot this one. Quishon Fuller, 1 sack. Come on. You're not getting it done on defense. I don't see, this is a very unaggressive defense. Very, very unaggressive. It's so frustrating watching them just sit back and picked apart by Drew Aller, the sophomore. I mean, he was just doing whatever he wanted out there for 4 quarters. And stop telling me about athletes and think. Let me tell you something. Why are you in the Big Ten if you're not there to compete with these teams? You're not even competitive. Not even competitive with a lot of these teams. The record shows it. It's frustrating to be there. A couple things have worked against you. One, you're in a horribly tough conference. I think 3 of the best 6 teams in the country are in this same conference. Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State. I don't care what they're ranked. They're right at the top. That's fine. The problem is you're not competing at a level with them. The other thing is maybe Ohio State and Penn State didn't have great quarterbacks. The quarterbacks are phenomenal. Drew Aller and Kyle McCord have been tremendous. So Terps defense doesn't belong on the same field with these guys. Doesn't belong on the same. It's infuriating because you do kind of expect to lose this game, but the last 2, Northwestern, the team can't hardly throw the ball. Not aggressive enough. They get more aggressive. Saw it in both games. So let's get it together this week. Got a game against Nebraska. Try and get a win against the Matt Rule's Cornhuskers. So let's see how we do in this one. Frustrating to have that type of lousy performance like that several weeks in a row. So you do expect to not maybe win that game, but that was not even competitive, considering all the work that Mike Locksley has done going forward. All right, the Orioles. Let's finish up with the Orioles awards. So the Orioles we're now officially in the offseason. We got the World Series out of the way. Now we're in our awards season. So this is the Ravery Sports Awards. These are the awards that we are giving out to see who the best players are on the team, the various award categories, and this is what we're going to go ahead and look at. So I'm not going by what the Sport News said or whatever. This is how I see it as far as the award categories and what I've observed this year on the team. Orioles awards, most improved player. I had Austin Hayes third. First of all, this was very hard to do because I think all these guys you could put one. Austin Hayes I had third. You could have put him one. I think Austin Hayes is third because he was already pretty good. I thought he was probably the most vulnerable job with all the minor leaguers coming up. I thought Austin Hayes, obviously, he had an all-star season. He didn't win the Gold Glove. He came pretty close. Austin Hayes, I thought, was outstanding all year. The improvement of Ryan O'Hearn was enormous. This was a guy off I mean, I'm gonna use the word scrap heap. I mean, this guy who was in Kansas City, not doing much at all. He was fantastic all year. Really did a great job at first base. Did a great job at DH. Was outstanding. But Yadier Cano, I understand he's a rookie, but when you're a 29-year-old rookie, that's a big improvement. So I'm gonna give it to Yadier Cano, possible closer for the next year's team. He was all-star this year. He was outstanding. Got to give it to Yadier Cano. As far as most improved. Best minor league player. This was pretty easy. Kobe Mayo. Kobe Mayo was really good. Kobe Mayo, everybody's telling me he's going to play third base. I don't think so. I think he's going to play first. He's really big for third. Even at third base, he's a really big guy. I think probably maybe right field or left field too. He hasn't played much there. He's only played the third, but I think they're going to try him in the outfield. I don't think he's going to play third. Tremendous power he has. Tall, lean, tremendous power. Connor Norby, I thought, was outstanding in the minors as well. Interesting to see what happens with him. I think he may actually be in the minors again as good as he was, or trade bait. Jackson Holiday, no question about it. I think this was one of the best minor league seasons I ever saw. How does a guy go from Delmarva to Aberdeen to Bowie to Norfolk and dominate at all the levels? He was just tremendous. I don't know if he's going to start on opening day, but definitely he is going to be on the mix all year long. Alex Pham, number 3 as far as a minor league pitcher. Justin Armister was 2nd. I think another guy who's in a rotation mix. Chance McDermott, best pitcher in the minors all season. I don't know if he starts right away in the majors next year. I think it really depends on what happens. I think he'll be given, I think if there is an opening, I think he'll be given every opportunity to start. I don't think there's, I think he certainly earned the right to see if he's ready for the majors, but I think he'll have some competition as well. Seth Johnson would be a guy. Didn't really pitch at all because of Tommy John. And I think DL Hall, I think they're still looking at. So keep that in mind. Pitching minor leagues not as strong as the hitting. Best defensive Oriole. Shout out Jordan Westberg. I think the thing is that nobody realized with Westberg, 0 errors in the field at second base. He did make 1 error, that was at third. He didn't make any errors at second base. That's incredible considering how much it is. Very underrated defensively. Austin Hayes, I thought that was the best outfielder this year. In turn, that's saying something considering Cedric Mullins is out there in Santander. I thought Austin Hayes had a phenomenal year in left field. And the left field has gotten a lot tougher at Camden Yards since they moved the fences back. But Adley, phenomenal. Let me tell you something too. Going forward with the pitch clock and the new rules, good defensive catcher is going to be a bigger thing. I definitely saw that this year. Orioles don't have that problem. Adley's going to throw guys out. He's going to he stops guys in the dirt. Not too many. I can't remember even too many pass balls with him all season long. Adley was phenomenal. Rookie Oriole of the year. There were 3. Westberg, I think as a hitter, I think the jury's out a little bit. I think he's ready to start though, but I just think so. It is somewhat possible they could get a veteran to supplant him or move him or kind of use him as a utility. But I thought this year, I thought he was great. Grayson Rodriguez down the stretch outside of the playoff start was tremendous all year long. I was tremendous down the stretch. Grayson, I think he's no worse than your third starter, depending on what happened in free agency. I think Grayson is tremendous going forward. He's going to be, I think, the ace going forward at some point. I think it's only a matter of time before we have the ace of the Orioles, Grayson Rodriguez. Rookie of the year, no question. Gunnar Henderson, not only was he the best rookie on this team, I thought he was the best rookie in all of baseball outside of Corbin Carroll. Certainly the best rookie in the entire American League. He is the aircraft carrier for the team going forward. Let's get a Gunnar extension. How about that? Let's call it the Jim Palmer Award, best pitcher on the team. Yadier Cano had a great season. I thought like his ERA never got above 2. I thought he was fantastic the whole season. He was great. Felix Batista, I gave this to Felix Batista except for the fact that he missed the last one. I thought this was the best closer in all baseball. I think he had a very good shot at the side had it not been for the injury. It was tough luck at a tough time that he got that injury so that Batista got hurt. I thought he was great all season. And Kyle Bradish was their best starter. You got to give him the Jim Palmer Award. I was so wrong about Brad. I thought Bradish last year, people liked him. I thought he was inconsistent. This year, he was not inconsistent. He was very consistent. He was good every start. I'd like to see a few more innings, but ERA less than 13, fantastic stuff. Certainly, and Jim Palmer Award. Number 3, most valuable Oriole, last year's winner, Anthony Santander. Santander, I think, is always better than he gets credit for. Interesting to see if he comes back. If he wins arbitration, that's $12 million. That's most since his post rebuild in terms of money they have spent. That's a lot of money for a guy for sure that's probably not going to be on the roster next year in 2025. So let's see if he stays on the roster. But I think giving him his flowers this past year, no question, Santander. Gunnar Henderson won the most valuable Oriole. I'm putting him second. I think as good as he was, and Gunnar was great. I think 28 home runs, phenomenal in the field, phenomenal versatility. His bat speed just jumps off. It kind of reminds me of Manny Machado when I first saw him. Just the bat speed is tremendous. And I think he's developing as a hitter right before, even with his tremendous talent, taking better pitches. I saw the development as a player. He's tremendous. I am giving most valuable Oriole to the linchpin, Adley Rutschman. I thought Adley's season was – here's what was so impressive about Adley. He only missed, I think, 10 games total. That's unheard of for a catcher. I mean, he didn't catch all the games. James McCann caught some of the games, but I think like he didn't miss hardly any games. No time on DL, was in the on IL rather. Was in the home run derby, went out to hug the catcher after every hit 20 plus home runs, and played the whole season. More than impressed. I thought Adley is the most valuable Oriole. Outstanding stuff by Adley Rutschman. There you go. So we got it taken care of today, and thank you very much for joining us. If this content was interesting today, we covered a lot today as well. Got that squared away. Oh, real quick, because I don't have time left. Congrats to the Terps. Winning the first game, 68-53 over the Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers. Terps were good. Question about who's going to be the point guard, though. So that's going to be a thing that we're going to watch all year long. DHS, Harris Smith, and Jameer Young were kind of sharing the position. So it's interesting to see how that's going to shake out. I think you're going to see more Jameer Young off ball this year than on the ball. So Terps actually get the victory in the first game, 1-0. I thought they were phenomenal in the backcourt. Julian Reese was good in this one as well. So wanted to get that in real quick. Shout out to the Terps. And if you still want to see more about Terps, you can watch our Maryland basketball preview video on our Ravery Sports YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch page is still on there. Thank you very much for joining us. You have a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining us today.